Hi everyone. I'm going to show you how you can cut a little thicker piece of wood than your standard stuff. It's a little bit thicker. I wouldn't bother with a machete or a big knife or anything, cutting anything thicker than that. I know you'll see guys on there cutting stuff like this. You can get through it, but it's an awful lot of work. Right? But something like this, see, that's 3.5, 4 inches around, right? That's softwood, but I mean, you really don't want to go anything thicker than that. With the machete, it's so incredible. Let's see if we've got a tree down. Yeah, we do, because there's one over here. Right? Now, let me get over here. Take a look here. Now, here's the thing about a machete. You're out in the field, you don't want to do your campfire, right? You need small stuff. Well, I mean, look at this thing. Right, you've got, with this, you have an ability to gather everything that you need, right, in a relatively quick period of time. And let me take this down a little bit further. See, this would be a good piece for at the campfire. We'll just cut her off here. I'll give you another example. All right, right here, I guess. See how that glances off? You don't want to be in the way of that. Now this one I can't turn, so I'll have to go through it. Alright, so we got this. You got all that small stuff off it. See how easy this thing. Now I know you could do that with an axe, right? But machete is a alternative. You saw how quick it was to come up with that much firewood. And plus you have all this small stuff, right? Now, a lot of you don't know, but some of you do. I moved out from the city, and my experience with working in the woods and wood stoves and all this kind of stuff, it was basically nil when I first moved down here. And The first winter, we ran out of firewood in January. I had no concept, and but we had the heat, and I didn't want to buy any because I'm a stubborn cuss, and I wanted to, do this, So there was an alternative. We either froze or I went out and got wood. Now basically, like I said, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. We needed dry wood. There was a lot of wood down like that over here. As you can see that, if you you see this tree down here, right? And so this is all really good wood. The thing is that I'm not sure about the main trunk. But I do know that this stuff, this burns like hell. I knew that from my military experience. Because, we would take lower branches and branches from dead trees, right? And so on and so forth. So basically I went out with the machete and the small bow saw. And it takes about just go in. From another tree. I would basically take this stuff, maul the down trees, now, once I had a pile of it, look, I'd strip this and I'd put it in a pile. I had a Rubbermaid container, and I would stick the Rubbermaid container like here, and basically just start going to town. All right. Cutting at the angle. And it took about an hour to do approximately, well, it took about an hour to do 2 Rubbermaid containers. I don't know how many gallon containers they are. And we would burn about 1.5 containers a day. So I was going out virtually every day and doing this. And you know what? From about the beginning of January until what I did was I had cut up a bunch of this stuff, split it, brought it in the house, and it dried in the house. So by the end of February, March, we were starting to use this. But for about almost 2 months, this is what we burnt in the wood stove. And what did we get it up to one night? What was it, 87, 88 degrees?
Yeah.
Right? This stuff burns real, real hot. And you don't waste anything. And the thing is that I know that I can heat a house with nothing more than a machete. Now, do I recommend it? Well, no, I don't. The chainsaw and the maul and the axe, right? but you know, the machete is this incredible tool. It really is. It's a very flexible tool, and it can get you out of a bind. As you've seen, it'll cut reasonably thick wood. It cleans stuff off. No, like, you know, like, I mean, this dead stuff. If you're putting together a campfire, right? You know, now, can you do this with a hatchet? Sure. With one of those woodsman's axe everybody loves? Yeah. Those are great things. And really flexible, right? Every tool, you know, what I love about this is just, you know, this sweeping to get the, you know, it just, you know, takes off all that stuff. I mean, this is the stuff you need for starting fires, right? And it'll provide you with all the material to start a good fire. So, you know, again, I'm obsessing about machetes, but that's just the way I am. They're a real great thing, and if I had to choose one tool, this is a carbon steel. It's probably a spring of some sort, right? I could get a spark with the right rock from this, so I could light a fire with this. You can, you know, if you've got to make feather sticks, this will make feather sticks. Right? I mean, that's just offhand, but I mean, you get my point here, right? You know, you can get real good shavings, feather sticks from it. That's it, so. As you can see, and splitting splitting is usually no problem. Basically, you're using the weight of the wood as well as the machete. Right? Once you get it started, that's it. Spaz it up. Stop laughing, people, because I know you're laughing. I keep missing it. I know why, too. It's at an angle. It'll split. Right? And easy to cut. Right? So, you could split with it, you can do fire sticks with it, you could start a fire with this. I'll have to do a video on that one day. Now, expense. I picked this up at an Army Surplus store for $8, I believe. I think it was $8, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This was, I think it's a Trementina, but I'm not sure. It's got no name on it. It was made in Brazil, right? You can see they got a good flex to them. Avoid those cheap plastic handled black ones that they sell that are like
in hardware stores.
In hardware stores. They're a cheap copy of the Ontario, which makes a great machete. I'll tell you one tool that I would really like to try is that I think it's called the SP8 that Ontario makes. It's a squared off thing. It's a 1/4 inch blade. I imagine that would be just fantastic for this type of stuff. But, you know, any machete will work.
Except for those cheapy ones.
Except for those cheapy ones.
I've seen them in action.
Yeah.
If you flex it like you flexed, it will hold the bend.
It'll hold the bend. Yeah.
You cannot get that bend out. It stays in there. Even if you bend it the other way, it will still have a slight bend.
If you take the machete and just give it a bend like that, it'll give you an idea, right, of whether it's half decent. Now, like I said, this one is a bit heavier than my other machetes. But it's a good tool, right? And as you can see, it does a lot of different work. It really does, and I mean, it cuts through anything, right? Right, you know, it's got this. Right. As you see. And then for cleaning off, well, I mean, for cleaning off the small stuff, there's just nothing finer. And for, if you're looking for boughs for your shelter, she just takes them right off. So, consider a machete for a tool. Still doesn't replace the, you know, a good jackknife like a Swiss Army knife, or a good general purpose knife like a Mora, right? I'm not going to carve a spoon with this, right? I certainly wouldn't. Well, I probably could, but man, it's a little bit big for that. But for everything else, for the fire, right? Like I wouldn't be without one in the bush. I started using them. I can tell you the exact month, because I joined the Army Reserves. I was 17 and a half, and I turned 18 halfway through the summer, and it was in August. We went into the field, and it was the first time I had actually got my hands on a machete. I had seen machetes, you know, like Earl Flynn going through the jungle, or Robert Taylor hacking through the jungles, and you know, Bataan or whatever in those propaganda movies. But I had never personally used one, and I got my hands on this thing. And is, you know, D&D, you know, the Canadian military, they used them. And we were in the field, and it was the first time in the field, and we had to do our shelters and everything. And there was machetes. I took the machete, and I couldn't believe it. And I think it was the next pay or the pay after that I bought my first Trementina. And, you know, that's when I was 18, so that's 30 odd years ago, right? So, and I wouldn't be without a machete, like in the field, right? Like, they talk, you know, an axe is this and an axe is that. You know, I think the axe thing is more of a traditional thing. It's more of a European thing. The machete is Asian, and it's, you know, comes from there, right? But I'll tell you something. I mean, you just saw what I was doing here, and I'm only screwing around here. But when, like if, I've got plenty of firewood to see me through, but like all this stuff that's coming off this down tree, I will process up, because this makes excellent kindling wood, and it makes, when you want a hot fire, you get up in the morning and you start your fire on that wood stove, man, it gets it hot really quick versus the big rounds. And, you know, it's easy to process. And why let this go to waste? I mean, you know, I have a limited number of trees here, and I think half of them have fallen down. Right? This is an area that's fell down in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, this was like a cathedral here. Right? But our winds are getting stronger, and there's been some kind of thing. I was going to use I was going to do a video on spruce root, but that'll have to wait till the spring, because I'll have to dig up some fresh spruce root, because the stuff that's coming up out of the stumps, there's something wrong with it. Can't use it. Anyway, that's basically, I think that's everything I got to say on the machete. I really like the machete, and I think everybody should be using one. Till the next time.